either take us to consensus or we move to the next point, which is options. The government is still in control of this negotiation and has the leverage because we are the one who have to issue the license whenever that time comes. So I want to make Jamaica assured that Melissa has not shifted that when if it was negotiated differently, it could have easily given the government less leverage based on the circumstances. I want to mention about Petrojam. You asked some questions. I'm prepared to get those answers for you and give you as we usually communicate, because that is important information. You mentioned Paradise Solar. You said we didn't mention anything about LNG. You would have seen the statement from JPS about what they are doing for the customers, JPS, in terms of no disconnections, payment plans, etc., etc. The JPS knows exactly from Beryl where this government stands. The OUR is already on top of their game, and we are going to make sure that before anything happens in relation to any discussion about price increase or rate increase, that a proper discussion is had and it is evaluated, and whatever it is has to be communicated and dealt with. If it becomes that way, you are going a bit further, so you reach to that point. Where I reach is to make sure what I announced today happens in the shortest possible time to ease the burden and the suffering of those who don't have not even a tarpaulin over their head. So I give you the assurance that that is on my radar. And if that is inevitable, we will manage it and we'll make sure that we do what we have to do to ease the burden on the customers of the JPS. You asked about interest rate. We got approval yesterday. The Ministry of Finance, I think at this hour, if not this evening, tomorrow morning, will start discussions with JPS. And as I said before, we have to be very careful.
So you approve a loan without the interest rate.
The money, and the interest rate is not reasonable. And by the way, it's consolidated fund money. It's not borrowed money, it's consolidated fund money. But guess what? If you don't spend $150 million to do this, and you spend it on some house, and fix some school, and some water, and you don't have light, the $150 million don't value nothing. Because light, electricity is the most important thing in a recovery as we speak now. So I take full responsibility with support of my minister. As I said before, you were asked about the shortfall. We have given a commitment for $150 million. They are to come back in relation to their financial model for the balance. The original ask was $300 million. We said we are prepared to do 2 months to get the restoration back. We will evaluate it at that point, depending on where we are. But right now, the most important thing is to move that 4 to 6 months and cut it down to 2 to 3 months. If the Jamaican people know and see the activity on the ground to know that January 2026 is going to be the last of the suffering because of electricity, they can manage that. But if you tell them May, June next year, they're just going to throw up their money there, because 6 months is impossible to sustain. So remember, you and I get on. We can discuss anything you want, whether off air, on air, wherever you want. Just understand one thing. My responsibility on behalf of this government and the Andrew Holness-led administration is to reduce the suffering of the people in the shortest possible time. And this is a game changer to what JPS had proposed originally and was going down the road. And the fact that we can do what we have done without mixing the loan with any extension to the license is making sure that our commitment to the Jamaican people is upheld. So, as I said before, we can talk more. Thank you.
It's a personal thing.
Members,
As I said, we're taking the questions on this one.
Accept that it is time for question.
We're taking the questions and then we're going into our live. We're going to be talking to Ralston Iman. We're going to be talking to Bert Samuels about Jimmy Cliff. And we're going to be joined by Caribbean Radio 97.9 HD4 in a few minutes.
Of Parliament. We are going to be guided by what is in here. And what I want to say to new members, that there are sections that speaks to protocol and disciplinary activities and actions. So what I want us to do is to do it accordingly to what is here. The standing orders speak to section 32, that a member who wishes to ask a question will rise. And if two persons rise at the same time, the first person that I see, I will call upon to take the mic. The first person to stand, you can go ahead and stand. If you all rise, I'll choose one. Member from Eastern Westmoreland, your mic is on.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I will be asking questions.
I hope so.
Yes, sir. As long as you're familiar with the same definition that I have for questions. Minister, I'm wondering if it's because of that sort of vote remark why when you come to Eastern Westmoreland, you don't inform me that you're there. So let us put whatever is not good between us, let us put it aside so we can deal with the people's business. My first question, Minister, in relation to the mobile gas stations, we still have a pressing need in Eastern Westmoreland for us to have access to those services, especially in an area like Betheltown that does not have a functioning gas station to begin with. So I'm, again, just bringing that to your attention that we would like to have mobile gas stations in Eastern Westmoreland. That's one. Two, in relation to the timeline, I'm happy that you have had a subsequent meeting with the CEO for JPS and that you have a timeline for January, because I met with him and a team Saturday. Yes, and he expressed that the videos and the pictures did not do justice to the level of devastation. So I'm happy that there's been a further update to the timeline for persons to get electricity. In relation to the generators, I note in your statement that you said, I think it's 561 generators were given to Trelawney, Hanover, and St. Elizabeth. I'm wondering what happened to the parish of Westmoreland, and specifically now in relation to Eastern Westmoreland. All right. Okay, next question is in relation to when we give the percentage from these utility companies, and we say 75% is back and 80%. It's not hard to imagine that you have 75% of whatever service is being restored because of the density of Kingston and St. Andrew and St. Catherine, especially Portmore. What I would appreciate more is when we speak to this, if we speak to on a parish by parish basis, because really and truly the impact was really from Manchester, St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland coming around to. Right, because that would give a much clearer picture to us as to what level of restoration has taken place here. And that's Flow, Digital, JPS, and one of them. In relation to ATMs, which you mentioned, we don't have any ATMs currently in the constituency. And I'm wondering about the possibility of looking at putting some ATMs at the police station. There's an issue in Darliston where some bandits went there, and since then we haven't had any. But there is a functioning police station in the major towns, and so it shouldn't be difficult to put it there, because I suspect that these bandits would not be bold enough to attempt to rob somebody on the compound of the police station. And as you said, cash is currently king. So if you could look into that, I would appreciate it as well. In relation to the containers that you've said, there's a possibility of retrofitting. I am wondering if it is to get access to the containers that is causing the delay, or it is the process of retrofitting it, the access to get to, because you said in your statement several times that there are persons who don't have even a tarpaulin. I wrote it down. And sometimes when we speak, people, you know, I see some members get agitated at times when they are speaking. Just imagine that you have constituents that don't have even a tarpaulin over their heads, right? To speak up and advocate for that person could not be seen as anything but making representation, which is what they elected you to do in the first place, right? So, Minister, the mobile gas station, the electricity, the containers, the generators, the breakdown of the restoration of the services, and the ATM at the police stations.
Well, thank you, member. Just to say to you that, yes, those issues that you raise can easily be answered. And I'd appreciate if you just send me something, outline it to me, so that I can forward it to who needs to get the responses. But nothing that you have said is undoable. The only thing is the 1,000 containers that are here and have been here forever are not owned by the government. We are asking, based on the circumstances, if they could make them available to us as a humanitarian gift. But they are owned by several different shipping lines. Just to go back, member, if you indulge me, to my colleague, shadow spokesperson, accelerate operations at Old Harbour LNG and Clarendon resume full operations on October 31st. Accelerate teams in Montego Bay resume full operations on November 1st. So the timelines were very short in relation to the period of things. 28 was a hurricane, 29, 30, 31st, a matter of a few days. So that's good news in relation to the overall scheme in terms of your concern about possible major increases. So again, that's excellent coordination and work, especially the fact that even one of them was in Montego Bay that was able to be opened on November 1st. So member, as I said before, the things that you raised there, the information and data, what I can say is that based on the meeting with JPS and the fact that they have gotten the confirmation from the government to the agreement that we had yesterday verbally that's going to be documented, they're going to provide the government of Jamaica with a detailed listing which will take us to Christmas and take us to January. And that will be able to give communities timelines similar to what we did at the end of Beryl, because percentages mean nothing to me. It means nothing. If you don't know where your community is and when you expect it to get back light and you can't plan, then you're just in frustration and anxiety. So we will get that and we will publish that, or the JPS, once we sign off on it, will publish that on a daily basis as they did in the last few weeks of Beryl when we got on top of them to share information. But I want to state again, this is not a fix that does not include the worst affected areas. This includes sections of the worst affected areas for Christmas and by end of January, early February.
Member from St. Andrew Southern.
Who is that?
Thank you.
Turn the mic on, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Minister, the context of your presentation in relation to the JPS situation is that the license expires, I think it's July 2027. Notice has been given, triggering the consequences of license termination. Jamaica has roughly 20% of the equity in JPS. The funding gap, based on the recently done work to do the restoration of the grid, including substations, transmission posts, et cetera, distribution lines, is around 350 million US. So our 20%, if you're looking at it as a shareholder, our 20% would be 70 million. But we are actually taking the risk of lending an unsecured loan to JPS of 150 million, which is twice the proportion of the equity that we hold in the business. So unsecured, if you have any collateral to seize, you're relying on a mechanism to get it back, which I'm going to speak to in a second. So my question to you is, first of all, the other 200 million, which is currently not funded, but which is necessary to achieve the timelines that you have indicated for restoration. What is the assurance that that 200 million will be raised on a timely basis so as to enable the necessary expenditures to be made by JPS to hit the targets, which are presumably fairly aggressive targets, given the extent of the damage to the grid and so on? What level of confidence do you have that that 200 million will be raised by them? And what is the time frame that it has to be raised by for that target to be met? I'd like to know the time frame for that. Secondly, would we be disbursing our 150 before that 200 million is in place? Are we going to take the risk of lending that money to JPS, funded out of the consolidated fund you've said? I was going to ask you how it's going to be funded. That's roughly the same amount as the cat bond drawdown, we're told. This 150, which Jamaica has been seeing as being critical to the housing, shelter, the school fixing up, the health centers and hospitals, etc. JPS is now going to get the benefit of that money. I want to know whether we're going to take that risk and disburse those funds to JPS until the damage fund is fully funded. As it stands now, all you've told us is you've left it up to them and they're to come back to you. That, I think, is a risk we're not prepared to take as a country. I want to know which GOJ entity is going to carry the loan. So is it DBJ? You know, which entity is going to be the lender of record? Because part of what you've said is a mechanism that assures repayment, you've said, is that if at the end of July 2027, there is no renewal of the license because you can't agree terms, and you're acquiring the assets of JPS, you're saying that 150 would be a set-off, essentially. That's what I read you to be saying, that you would recover the 150, it would go in reduction of what you would have to pay them to acquire the assets. So set-off requires mutuality, meaning that the person who owes you is the same person you owe. So I want to know which entity within the government is going to carry that loan to the JPS. You said the interest rate is not yet settled, and the Ministry of Finance is going to deal with that hopefully tomorrow. I'm hoping that we will get a report on what that is, because this is coming out of the nation's available liquidity, and when there are a whole lot of needs to be met. So I think it's necessary for us to do what is necessary to get JPS up and running as quickly as possible. But I think we have to do it very prudently and sensibly so that we don't unnecessarily expose taxpayers to loss. So I would like your assurance, Minister, that that 200 million will be coughed up by JPS, perhaps by its two large overseas shareholders, Marubeni and East West Power, Korean government, South Korean government-owned large utility. Or JPS is going to draw down on whatever funding it can raise from its creditors. I don't know how they plan to fund it, but we need to know it's funded before we put our 150 in. That's the last question I have, because I'm asking questions, is in all of this that we're discussing now, to get things back up and running as quickly as possible, which is the main imperative we're all aligned around. We've also had talk over the last year or so since Beryl about building resilience into our distribution and transmission systems for electricity. And there's been talk about putting wiring underground, and that the cost of that is very high. And in fact, the CEO of JPS has said it'd be prohibitive. But what I want to know is what practical steps are being taken to build resilience into the grid now for those sections which have to be rebuilt. And is that a consideration at all? And if it is, what are the things that you intend to do to make sure that the grid is more resilient to withstand weather events, maybe not as drastic as Melissa, but weather events that we know sooner or later, hopefully much later, we're going to have to endure again. So that's my third question. So I'll summarize. One is the timeline for JPS to fund the 200 million gap, and whether you would ensure that that funding is in place before you expose our $150 million. Which GOJ entity is going to carry the loan, this $150 million loan that will be made to JPS? And what, if anything, is being done to build greater resilience into the grid in those areas where the grid is being substantially rebuilt? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Let me indicate very clearly for all of Jamaica to hear. The meeting that we had yesterday morning, where the Minister of Finance and the Financial Secretary was there, we ironed out a way forward, realizing the seriousness and the time-sensitive nature of this response. So the first answer to your question is that this government is prepared on behalf of the people of Jamaica to release the $150 million in whatever tranches are required as quickly as possible to get the restoration going. And that's the difference between a caring government and somebody who has a financial background. The people want light. Okay? So let me just make that clear.
Point of order, Minister.
Point of order.
Minister, point of order.
His feet, talking. The minister is standing on his feet, talking into the mic. You don't need to personalize your response. You don't need to get hot under the collar. It's a legitimate question I'm asking. And I'm just, so don't bother about having a financial background. I want to know a simple question. Are you going to ensure the funding is in place? And now you're coming back and personalizing it in a totally unnecessary way.
Let me repeat. Let me repeat. The member is saying that his position is that he would not release the $150 million unless he knew where the $200 million was coming from. That's what he said. That's what he said. That's what he said. Hansard is there. Hansard is there. Hansard is there. Hansard is there. And I am
Minister,
telling you,
Minister,
I am telling you,
Minister, please, please. For those members who do not have the floor, please allow the minister to answer the question.
so,
You may continue, Minister.
Mr. Speaker, let me just say it again. Based on the meeting that took place yesterday, we are confident, based on the meeting that had the representative of the Ministry of Finance at the highest level, the Minister and the Financial Secretary, you can't go any higher, that we are prepared to release the $150 billion tonight if it means that the people are going to get back light sooner than later. Mr. Speaker, 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 Mr. Speaker,
Members,
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker,
members, all minister. Members,
you are a wicked and evil. Bad mind don't go on yet from September 3rd.
members,
Wicked and evil. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker.
Minister, all. Members, members from the opposition side,
You are an uncaring set.
if you
You are a
do
heartless set.
If
You're a
you
wicked
do not
set.
allow the minister to continue, then we will have to go to something else. Please, you do not have the floor. Member from St. Catherine North Central, you do not have the floor.
Mr. Speaker,
You will find out in short.
Mr. Speaker,
Go ahead, minister.
the $150 million
Give me
that the
chance.
government is prepared to release as soon as the documentation is in place, which will be no later than a matter of hours to a day, because of the urgency, is specific for restoration over 2 months, December and January. That $150 billion is ring-fenced to deal with a restoration program that will take care of Jamaica, not only some parishes. And if you are going to tell me that there are people in this house that would question a government in a crisis like this to hold $150 million that we have availability now, to find out about $200 million, which can take another month or 6 weeks. Our money is secured whichever way it goes. We are a responsible government, and we have taken a responsible decision, a caring decision, an argument done. Some of you are asking the question, I wouldn't bother start with it again. So, Mr. Speaker, the position is, this matter is fluid. This is a cabinet decision that was taken yesterday. We are going to wait until we have the final agreement between the Ministry of Finance and the JPS, and whenever that happens, we will make it public in Parliament to show the people of Jamaica what the final terms and conditions are. But for somebody to stand up in Parliament, knowing what is taking place out there, and is prepared to take a position to delay restoration, they will be judged by the people of this country. Yes, here.
Welcome to Caribbean Radio HD
Minister,
97.9
Minister.
HD4. If you're just joining us, we are taking a live feed from the sitting of the House of Representatives here in Jamaica.
Question.
Minister of Energy and Technology, Daryl Vaz, made a statement and is now answering questions from members of the House of Representatives.
The JPS has said that they estimate that the damage is 350 million. You're providing 150 million. Are you comfortable that the 150 million that the government is going to loan can provide the full restoration for all the parishes in the time frame that you have indicated? Right? By end of, hold on. Right? My second question, and I will ask you to ask your colleague who is sitting beside you. When will the Parliament get a statement from the Minister of Finance which outlines all the monies that we have gotten from the insurances, the monies that we are negotiating with our multilateral agencies, IMF, World Bank, IDB? We know that we have an estimate of US $8 billion. It is anticipated we can probably raise 1 billion US. Where is that shortfall going to come from? What are those funds going to be used for? We are 4 weeks after the hurricane, and the Minister of Finance is yet to come to the Parliament and tell us how much money we have, how the funds are going to be used. And every other minister can speak, can say many things, but if the Ministry of Finance cannot speak, right? So my question, Minister, do you believe 150 can cover the full restoration in the time?
Question at a time.
Just make him answer question. Make him ask no?
One question.
Turn it on.
Why Jamaica Parliament really turned bangarang?
Minister, Minister, I'm going to ask you, are you willing to have all questions posed at once and then you answer, or are you going to take them one at a time? No, you have to tell me no because I'm going to rule. One at a time. Are you going to answer the member from St. Andrew, Eastern, sorry?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I only have to answer one question out of two, and that's a question that relates to the JPS negotiation. And he asked me whether I'm confident that the 150 can do what it is said to do in the 2 months, and the answer is yes. Secondly, he asked about whether or not I'm confident of the additional money, and I will make a statement here to say we will work with JPS in whichever way, shape, or form that is required, if it means that we are to benefit the people of Jamaica in the shortest possible time. All options are open for discussion. All options. But we are not going to wait to get a fulsome, complete in a time of crisis. 150 is what we need for 2 months to get January morning, February morning, restoration as against May, June. If anybody can question that in Jamaica today with what we are going through, then they are wicked people.
Member from Clarendon Southwestern.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Is the minister aware that one of the major partners of the current JPS setup has indicated that they want to withdraw from the JPS agreement, the current agreement that they have, right? One of the international partners. And having regard to that fact, is the minister still prepared to go ahead with this loan of 150 million US, having regard to the fact that one of the partners of JPS has indicated that they want to withdraw from the agreement? It's an important question.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, It is a matter, Babsy. Mr. Speaker, it is a matter of public international knowledge that Maribweni, who owns 40%, indicated months ago that they are 40%.
Obviously, they are not listening, Minister. Give them some time. Go ahead now.
It's a matter of public record, international record, that Maribweni took a decision to divest their 40% in JPS. They came and saw the government of Jamaica and expressed that. This also, when the letter of the government in terms of the position that we took with the license, they came back to us to indicate that based on that, nobody will be prepared to buy 40% of a company that have 2 years on a license. So we are on the same path in relation to going down the road to get a negotiated license, one way or the other, so that they can then do what they need to do. But as of right now, they are in it for the next 2 years because they don't have any ability to sell. So that has no inference or nothing to do with what we are planning to do now. So answer to his question, yes, long time.
Can we? House leader. House leader.
This sounds like the questions for the Minister of Energy has been completed. We don't see any other opposition minister rising to ask any further question. I think after this, they're going to the Minister of Entertainment. So that's it for us on the House of Representatives. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, now standeth in the ways of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law do we meditate day and night. For we shall be like trees planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth our fruit in our season. Our leaves shall not wither, and whatsoever we do shall prosper. Welcome to the Colin Bell Show. We're live on Caribbean Radio 97.9 HD4. You have to check it out. Bro Geary Radio. Welcome, everybody. It's a pleasure having you this evening. There are a number of things that we want to look at this evening, and of course, those of you on Caribbean Radio would have known that we have lost an icon. Jimmy Cliff left us, transition. May his soul rest in peace and light perpetually shine upon him. We are going to be talking to Bert Samuel somewhere after 7 o'clock. We're going to be talking to him. He's somebody who knows Jimmy Cliff personally. I know Jimmy Cliff personally myself. I've met him one or two times. I've had any real dialogue with him of such. Never worked with him. And I can say that because I've worked with quite a few of our Jamaican artists. And once again, just let me remind you that yours truly, Colin Bell, is celebrating over 30 years in media. Over 30 years. We've been constant in the media space since September 1995. However, we've been practicing since 1993. And we want to just thank all the people who have worked with us in the past and big up all the people who we have assisted. And I mean, that's my greatest achievement, though, for the 30 odd years I've been in media. The amount of people that I have assisted. So those of you on Caribbean Radio would know some of them. Yeah, man, Captain Baker, one shaky one. Now call him name. Because, you know, them they bite there and we feed them. But, yeah. Now, there are some breaking news today. Some numbers came out July numbers. The trade gap has been widened. I think export is down by 2.9% and import up by about 3.2%, thus putting the Jamaican economy in a precarious position. And we're going to be talking to Ralston Iman about that as well, because it is not a simple thing, you know. Not really a simple thing like how we are take it. And we also have some things. Hey, hold on, we have some clippings because, bro G, me tell you, you know, that when we come here and we talk, some of the things, when we put our opinion out there, we state it as an opinion. But most of what we talk, especially when we talk about the economy and the performance of the Jamaican government, nobody can challenge it. They cannot challenge it. Because when we speak to those matters, those are statements of facts that we make. So, all you see them attack and I run off them mouth. They can't challenge what we say. So that's why you have a lot of them say things about us. When we bring on Ralston Iman, Ralston prides himself on data. So the raw figures. So there are times when we put some things out there and you have some people who try to come at us. And from the other day, I've been saying to them, bro G, when we come here and we said to you that the Jamaican economy since Hurricane Melissa has jumped to a bad place where our debt to GDP has gone back to 115%. It was 62.4% on the 27th of October, the day before Melissa. The day after Melissa, or let's say a week after Melissa, when the assessment, rough assessment has been taken, and the World Bank says that we have lost 41% of GDP. We don't need anybody else to calculate that for us. Professor Ralston Iman did his calculation. Sister Tanya working on the thing, and it's coming to come. The people are a bit hard to find. I mean, connection is not down there. And what we want to do is we want to give you direct connection to whomever. But we are saying to you that when Ralston Iman crunch the figures, a whole heap of people jump out and jump down power neck. Now, last night, I watched two things last night. I watched neighbor talking to a man who behave like him understand the economy. And neighbor had to take a break because the man can't find him numbers. Now, one of them name, me call him Cassie. I'm going to play what he was saying last night about us. And when I tell you now that when a man can't contest your argument, this is what he averts to. Listen to this.
Blessed, my people, blessed. Hey, me not tell no lie. This Hurricane Melissa thing here, it has become a political football field now. People just are going on a root for them party. You see it come out. Now on your screen is Mr. Shaka Fame, a man that was rejected by the PMP. Never get the chance to run back again for the seat. Somebody's running space instead of you. Mr. Ralston Iman, who I believe you're bad my Nigel Clark. Because you see, the praises when Nigel Clark get as a real financial analyst. Now you call yourself a financial analyst and you know this. Because me listen to your conversation, the recent one with you and Shaka Fame, Mr. Ralston Iman. You were talking about the debt to GDP and this and that and all kind of things. What may I say to you, Mr. Shaka Fame and Mr. Ralston Iman, why not balance the conversation? Instead of just having one financial analyst on your program, why not get a second opinion? Bring on another financial analyst and make the two financial analysts them have a discussion. There are so many you can contact Shaka Fame. If you get their opinion and see if you can make comparison and see which one of them present a more credible argument. But no, Shaka Fame. You love the propaganda. You love the rumor. You love the little false narrative them. And anything Ralston Nyman tell you that you believe. On a quick fi put doom and gloom pan the Jamaican economy. All because of politics. You can never be balanced and fair. Have you seen any good that has been done in this country since the GLP in power? Mr. Ralston Nyman, are there any numbers you can point to say, all right, then Jamaica has been in good standing financially? Where you can say, all right, then, me rate Andrew Olison.
Colin, I mean, you call that also?
He said that
No, hold on.
day,
Is a man that criticized me last night. Somebody does the people here. Let me stop it.
And
because what I've been saying to the listeners, Ralston, is when you come on and we discuss the economy, it is not opinionated. It is not opinion. These are statements.
Opinion because I'm not entitled to his own opinion, but I'm not entitled to his own fact.
Exactly.
So, opinion.
So that's what I'm saying to them. When you come on here, it's not opinion you're sharing. You're sharing the raw data, the facts. So this little man, what we call Cassie, we are going to say we must get our next financial analyst. Fist get balance. We're not looking balance. We're not looking balance around here. We're looking the truth. And the truth alone, so help us, God. Go with your balance. If you have hold on, Raleigh. If you have a financial analyst that have some different numbers, the number is 876-804-7072. We no screen call. Anybody can call. Raleigh.
How many times in here we say on the program, if you listen to the program, say, you can bring the finance minister come. You can bring the prime minister come.
Anybody.
You can bring the governor of the Bank of Jamaica come. You can bring Wayne Henry come. You can bring everybody come. All of them at once.
We're not discussing balance, brother. We're discussing Jamaica's economy and the data. Raleigh, there are some new data. We have problem. Give them the data.
All right. So I could tell him. So we don't need opinion. This is coming from the Statistical Institute of Jamaica, if you know what name, so. So the Statistical Institute of Jamaica is telling us that for the first 7 months of this year, Jamaica imported $4.5 billion in goods. That was up by 3.8%. While at the same time, Jamaica exported only $1.1 billion in goods. That was 2.9% less than the previous period. Yeah? Of that imports, we imported 1.3 billion in intermediate goods and raw materials for production, 1.24 billion in food and consumer goods. The fuel bill was 1.1 billion, and we imported capital goods, trucks, tractors, 452 million, and cars, 356 million. What did we export? Manufactured items, 476 million. The mining sector, 437 million. The big agricultural sector, over 42.8 million. Right?
Those are not opinions, son. Those are the data, the raw data. It's not Ralston Nyman says so. A Statin says so. Ralston is...
And for his information, Statin is the country's major data collections and analysis agency.
Exactly. So it's not balance we're seeking. It's facts we look for over here. Facts. Not balance.
Here all use all the word propaganda.
Listen, Raleigh, I just play the clip to show the people on Caribbean radio that they cannot challenge the arguments that we put forward. So them say him say me is a PNP reject. PNP reject me. And not that if you talk about it, the whole world knew that, you know. Is on this platform, me come announce me step down, you know. So the whole world know that. Come and talk about the fact that we say, and the professor say, the debt to GDP now is 115%. How that vex, you know? Come with the figure now. I heard Julian Robinson in the parliament a while ago asking when the finance minister is going to come to the country.
Yeah, because I know 1 month after, 4 weeks after, she can't come to the country with nothing that thing supposed to talk about. Wayne Henry just tell them, say, the economy are going to decline by 13% this quarter.
Tell her!
And that we're going to go into a recession.
Hey!
Wayne Henry just said so because of the devastation of the I word that we talk about. Infrastructure. Yeah?
You see, them talks, so we have preached gloom, doom and gloom. There's a saying that says that there's none so blind more than he who don't want to see.
All right. So here's this comment from the Chinese Institute. Yeah, I could tell him, so we're not talking about what we say, we don't need propaganda. Reeling from the devastation brought on by the passage of Hurricane Melissa last month, the local economy is expected to register a 13% decline in gross domestic product during the last quarter of this year, according to preliminary estimates released by the Planning Institute of Jamaica. Director General of the PIOJ, Wayne Henry, is sharing a grim short-term outlook, said at a quarterly press briefing this morning, that the expectation is for there to be a wholesale contraction of most of the island's key industries, such as agriculture and tourism. This, as the 7 most affected parishes, account for the bulk of domestic crop acreage and hotel room stock. The extent of the damage from Hurricane Melissa is unprecedented and far-reaching, affecting all industries, and is therefore expected to result in increased unemployment, weakened demand and output. The economic contraction for October to December is primarily expected to be transmitted to the industries of agriculture, tourism, food services, electricity, construction, information communications technology, transport and storage, he said. The preliminary economic projection for this fiscal year is that there will be a contraction within the range of 3 to 6%. That is what is coming from the Director General of the Planning Institute of Jamaica.
And that is the man who hid things for the GLP. This is the man when we had 3 quarters of decline, so we was not in a recession. No saying this.
Ideological shocks, yeah.
Kiasi, let me tell you something, Kiasi. We put some small videos on TikTok, on the Shaka FM page at TikTok. When you see them small videos there, you need to come over to Portland Spice TV at YouTube to watch the longer video where you get the full context. We now start listing that some of them as Econ 2.6, 2.5, 2.7. You don't need to go watch them and learn. These are not opinionated.
You're the final cut from the man who now you love use the R word. You're the man say, based on the projections outlined above, the country should brace for a recession. However, our focus at this moment is on restoring livelihood, protecting the vulnerable, and trying to get things up and running from a humanitarian standpoint.
Exactly so. So, what are these vloggers and bloggers? I'm telling you already, you know. I'm telling you, so what is happening to Jamaica right now? None of you vloggers, Tweeny Man, Cassie, Neighbor, you go talk about passa, stand down.
Yeah, man, they are just clowns, man.
You don't have no idea, you don't understand the economy. Yeah? No, Raleigh, the one named Neighbor had on a man last night I try tell him, say, the debt to GDP is not 115%. So when Neighbor asked him, so what is the debt to GDP now? In tell Neighbor, say, I'm going to look for the number them. A 5 minutes, me and wait on the platform. And the man couldn't come back. Hey, people, you know, for run them way, you know.
Yeah, man.
I said to them the other day, Raleigh, I said, Ralston Iman is on Power 106. Week mornings, Monday to Friday, 9 to 11. And at least for the last half an hour, I'm take calls. I am here for a minimum of 8 hours a week. We not hide from nobody. Why you no won't call we? You know the back our back at chat about we. You know not talk about what we say, you know. We not on here for beautification and to muggle face, you know. We here to give information and to educate the people. That is why I call Ralston Iman. Because I am not the authority on these numbers. It is Ralston. I learn. And I'm afraid to say I learn.
I'm telling them, so we invite them leaders every day, man. The man them who them all look up to, we invite them every day. Prime Minister, Minister of Finance, Governor of the Bank of Jamaica, Wayne Henry, anybody can come anytime
Raleigh.
and ask me. Yeah.
Darrell Vaz just said in the parliament that they are going to give JPS a loan of 150 million US dollars. And it will be coming from the consolidated fund.
Wow.
We have that kind of money, Raleigh?
$150 million from the consolidated fund.
Yes. So him tell them in that parliament a while ago.
Okay. What was the reaction of the other people? Because them never have enough money to do what them have to do. So how them all do that?
He was asked what is the interest rate. Him say no know yet. The the Ministry of Finance not come up with the interest rate yet. But you sign off on the loan and you don't know the interest rate. What
That's
can go so?
Yep. So what the opposition people have to say about it, Julian?
Julian asked him, what was the question? I think Julian asked one question and then direct the other questions to the finance minister who was in the parliament. So Julian is saying that when you're coming, when you're going to come tell me how much money you have to spend, how much you have spent already, what is the plan? But Darrell was the man who made the statement, so Darrell no respond to none of that. Darrell just respond. There's one question.
So it's the game we play. So how the Ministry of Finance will lend JPS money and Darrell announced it? And the minister is right there in the parliament.
Mark Golden was asking if, because JPS need $350 million.
Yeah, man.
That's what JPS said them need. The government is willing to lend them $150 million. However, Mark Golden was saying to them, so are you going to give up that $150 million before them get the next 200? And Julian question to him was that, are you confident that the 150 can bring back the restoration by the end of January? So Darrell start with him cussing and ready for this up people. But the question, Ralston, is that where they going to get that $150 million?
Well, that is what I know, because they said they had $650 million, which included the $500 million from the IMF, but the IMF said them not approached them yet. So those are some of the questions that and it's the finance minister that needs to answer those questions, not Darrell.
I understand that, but I guess the finance minister not delivering a statement, so Julian definitely wanted to go at her, asking her, how come every other minister make a statement and she not make a statement yet?
Yeah, man, all of us should be going at her.
And she's not making a statement today.
Yeah, she never made any.
No, the parliament not finished, but the other people who are going to make statements is Babsy Grange and then the prime minister.
All right. So what is the finance minister's role? What is it that she's doing? Because she's the one who's supposed to answer the questions about that loan to JPS.
But how you sign off on a loan without knowing the interest rate? Isn't that a critical part of the loan?
Yeah, man, and that is incompetence. And I'm saying to you, still I tell you, sir, it is not his prerogative to be announcing that. No matter the thing upside down, she's the one who's supposed to announce that and provide the details on that. So I tell you again, when I tell you, so them hide her from the public and them think they can't work better.
So it's not she should have come answer that money, come talk about that money argument. And then with Darrell facing the question, him came said to them, say, well, the minister will make a statement next week.
Precisely, because him don't know. If Nigel Clark was there, Darrell couldn't do that. It would have to come from Nigel Clark.
But must. Because he's now saying that they are going to be working out the interest rate. So what is it? Any interest rate, then get GPS. Oh, hold on, here it is. It is going to be minimal. Because you know what him said, Ralston? He said that they have considered reasonable interest rate, because if they give a big interest rate, it's going to affect the customers.
Yeah, but we want to know what is a reasonable, what is in his opinion a reasonable interest rate. He's not the finance minister. Again, we still stick to the point. And the finance minister is supposed to make those announcements. What do you mean what is a reasonable interest rate? We need to know. So,
the other thing, Ralston, where's the US dollar today?
161. Hold on. Let's get the accurate rate. I will need the accuracy.
Yes, man, because it's not opinion we are deal with. Yeah, and the listeners and viewers need to know that.
Data sources. We are coming like them. We have what other people say. We have all of the data sources.
And it's data we are present, not opinion.
Tell them so on the Bank of Jamaica website now. The Bank of Jamaica, the dollar closed at 161.10 today.
161.10?
12 cents.
12
It
cents.
was another 7 cents were lost today.
So, and the Bank of Jamaica has not intervened since this week yet?
No, not yet. So we expect some intervention later this week.
But the bank tells you that they will intervene more often.
Yeah, man. So hold on, by the way. So again, okay. They'll be offering tomorrow. They'll be trying to mop up $18 billion tomorrow. So this is an intervention. So they're going to mop up $18 billion tomorrow. So again, tell one name again to go for the Bank of Jamaica website.
Cassie McCall. I don't know the name in the Ralston. I just give them nickname when I see them to them look. Yeah. The one they know me call him Cassie. And you have one next one named Winner, me call him Tweenie Man. Because them brain, them are half wit.
Yeah, so the Bank of Jamaica will be mopping up another $18 billion tomorrow.
My people. Anybody come to your Ralston, any response on the debt to GDP?
Them can't respond. What am I saying?
But why when they come and attack we? Because them attack me, them a say you bad mind. Me a PNP reject.
Bad mind in Jamaica?
That's set of clowns. Set of clowns.
Which part of them there when we there fix Jamaica? Which part of them there? Them just have come here.
Them don't know nothing. Me just tell them little while say 30 odd years in a media me a celebrate. Hold on the Ralston, me can take a question here. Marshy.
Yeah, man. Evening. Let me tell you something. You see, you have some people who claim that they know about economy. And we have to keep this. We have to keep Portland Spice Air Program clean. So we're going to use two words and no one people understand that the words are clean. You know, if you use a dynamite to blast up a rock, the rock become a blasted rock, don't it?
Yes.
Good. And in the Bible, Mark 16, verse 16, he that believe it and is baptized shall be saved, he that believe it not shall be damned. So the word I use is legal word, right?
Yes.
Now you have some people, and even like the other one that we played the clip in a while ago, when they were leaving school, teachers stamp a paper, give them mark, DBI, which means damn blasted idiots. We have to just say it plain as that. A few days ago, you know, Ralston and Colin, I asked you guys the question if we are in recession or we are heading for a recession. Who say we are heading for recession now?
We and Henry.
Which party, me know?
Me don't know if me don't know.
If anything.
I guess he's one of the government's advisors.
Amen. And where him say now?
Well, me could go back to Ralston and hear what him say.
Because we want to know. We want to know if in bad mind. We want to know if we are in bad mind.
All right, sir.
Good.
Yeah, Raleigh.
Mm-hmm.
You heard Marshy?
No, I'm saying.
No, Marshy is saying that he asked a question the other day if we're going into a recession, if we are in a recession, are we going into a recession? And I am telling him that what is happening is that the PSOJ head is saying that we are heading to a recession.
Yeah, man, and we ended with that a while ago, man. If you lose 41% of your value, you're going on more than a recession and you drop by 13%. You almost are going on a depression. And the slow response and the idiocy from the Ministry of Finance will make it even worse.
Definitely.
Yep.
And they have not showed us any plan that they will be using to save Jamaica to deal with this whole thing.
No, so the Bank of Jamaica are going in the same direction. They do the same thing what it used to do before the hurricane. And the minister did the same thing what it used to do before the hurricane, hide from the public. So all the things are going to work. You know, you're the small business people in my talk. You know, you're the small people, the business people in my ball. Nobody now comes to help them. They don't say, oh, them are going to come back and stream. And you can't bring back the economy without bring back the small businesses because they are the major employer and the major producers of GDP.
And when you give GPS $150 million, what you're going to have left to deal with the people's business?
That's the point. So that we need to know more about this thing.
Raleigh, the Prime Minister is on his feet in the Parliament. We want to listen to him. We will listen to him and then we'll call you back.
All right, boss. Good.
Blessings.
These
Yeah, man.
are minimum
Yeah, man.
estimates and will increase as ground assessment continues. Compared to major hurricanes worldwide, Hurricane Melissa now ranks amongst the most extreme debris generating storms ever on record. And there are analyses that are already being done on this, Mr. Speaker, which would compare, for example, the debris generated in Hurricane Katrina, the debris generated in Hurricane Irma, and other hurricanes relative to Jamaica. And of course, there are suggestions regarding the type of building material used, where people chose to live. But there is also another factor which we have not yet assessed, but needs to be assessed. The damage went through the cockpit country. And therefore, some of our prime forests were destroyed. The leaves of every tree in the path was stripped and the trees broken. So the devastation of the primary forest has not yet been assessed. So when the satellites are doing the imagery, what they are picking up is a lot of that debris mass, which accounts for why it is so large. In the other areas, the storms did not affect primary forests as the way it has. 51%, I'm told, of our primary forests has been affected. So in other hurricanes in other countries, it has not affected their forests in the way that it has affected ours, our cockpit country. So it's an area that we will have to look at, but it's not the primary subject of today's statement. Mr. Speaker, we must act urgently and strategically to address this unprecedented challenge. It is important to note that at this time of the year, we traditionally launch our annual mitigation and cleanup exercise, constituency-based, in preparation for the Christmas season. Today, I wish to inform this Honourable House that the government has approved budgetary allocations for the National Cleanup Programme, which will incorporate the annual constituency-based mitigation and cleanup programme. $10 million per constituency has been allocated under the National Constituency-Based Mitigation Program. The allocation will be broken down as follows: $2 million for drain and waterway cleaning and vector control to reduce the spread of pests and disease, $5 million for de-embushing, and $3 million for debris and waste removal. This investment is not only routine seasonal maintenance, it will neatly dovetail into a broader program of cleaning and debris management. Additional funding will be provided to the 16 most affected constituencies across Westmoreland, 3 constituencies, Hanover, 2 constituencies, St. James, 5 constituencies, Trelawney, 2 constituencies, and St. Elizabeth, 4 constituencies. Beyond these parishes, other severely affected communities island-wide will also be targeted. So there is a constituency-based, parish-based targeting, but then we will go more granular to specific communities in other parishes which have been affected. Mr. Speaker, we believe that this is the most equitable and efficient way of using the resources. In other words, we are targeting the resources to the areas of greatest need. This program will employ, just to be clear, Mr. Speaker, this is the program which is our national cleanup program, which represents the additional funding that we are placing on the table. So this program will employ between 100 and 200 persons per constituency. So in the 16 constituencies named, in addition to areas in other constituencies affected, we will employ between 100 to 200 persons to assist with the cleanup. The Social Development Commission will oversee the recruitment, training, and organization of work teams. Our aim is to ensure that all workers are properly documented, are supported to open a bank account where needed, and receive basic training in the safe handling and disposal of debris and waste. This is part of a wider effort to formalize labor, strengthen social protection, and uphold decent work principles even during
an emergency. The National Solid Waste Management Authority will coordinate operational planning and work schedules. They will be supported by the Jamaica Defence Force, the National Spatial Data Unit, utilizing GIS mapping to tag and track debris, the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development, and the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce. We are identifying additional temporary disposal sites and exploring recycling and the circular economy solutions, which will include using wood chippers to process vegetative waste and mulch, to process vegetative waste for mulch and compost, establishing structured scrap metal recovery, and recovering reusable construction material, and partnering with private firms to pilot community-level material sorting. These measures are essential to build long-term resilience in waste and debris management. We have also begun securing additional trucks, compactors, bulldozers, and heavy equipment, including through pledged international support. Mr. Speaker, countries that have faced large-scale disasters such as Japan after the 2011 earthquake, Indonesia after the 2018 earthquake, and the United States after Hurricane Katrina, implemented debris-to-income programs where communities were paid to sort, recycle, dispose, and remove, and to convert debris into usable materials. These programs created temporary jobs, accelerated cleanup, reduced landfill pressure, and strengthened local recycling industries. And Jamaica will follow similar best practices and models, ensuring that our cleanup effort also supports livelihoods and stimulate local enterprise. Mr. Speaker, I should also point out that we are making a special allocation of $150 million. You know what, let me not make that statement though, having said what I just said earlier. No, the Minister of Finance slipped me a note, and I misread the note. In addition to the allocations for MPs, for constituencies, we're also making an allocation of $150,000 per councillor in each constituency. I hope, Mr. Speaker, that Hansa did not record my initial statement. I'll come to that later. I'll go back. Mr. Speaker.
If you're just joining us, we are listening to the Prime Minister of Jamaica speaking in the House of Parliament on after Hurricane Beryl in statement by Minister.
Community groups, church groups, service clubs, and private households must join in this campaign to clean up our space. A cleaner Jamaica is not only aesthetically pleasing, it is safer, healthier, more resilient, and more attractive for investment and tourism. The cleanup we begin today contributes directly to our economic recovery, our public health, and our national pride. Given the scale of the debris, this will take time. Initial operations are projected for 2 to 4 fortnights, after which we will conduct an assessment and expand interventions as required. So technically, we could go under the special national cleanup program for a month to 2 months just to do cleanup. After that, then we will reassess. Members of Parliament and councillors in targeted areas will receive detailed instructions and guidelines. Letters confirming allocations, that is under your normal routine maintenance Christmas program. You will get those letters by Friday. And for the constituencies that are
When you hear that
Mr.
little beep
Speaker,
in the
the time for
parliament, the
speaking has
speaker
expired. We
time
ask that
has
the
expired.
time be extended sufficiently to complete the presentation.
So they're asking for more time for the Prime Minister
Minister,
to
you have the
speak,
liberty.
to
PM, you have
finish
the
his
liberty.
presentation. And I'm sure that after the
Mike,
presentation, there are going to be
your mic.
questions.
Thank you,
And
Mr. Speaker. I'm
let's go back.
finished.
Oh, so he's finished. He's finished?
The question is on the floor for the extension of time. Those in favor? Those
it's coming
against? Ayes have it. You may continue, PM.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm actually at the end.
Yeah, I know.
So, members of Parliament and councillors in targeted areas will receive detailed instructions and guidelines. So, letters confirming the allocations will be sent out by the latest Friday of this week. You will probably get them late tomorrow into early Thursday. And for the constituencies that are specifically targeted, those 16 in addition to areas in other constituencies, you will also get your letters explaining how you will participate in the program, how you will be able to recommend persons to work, the assignment of the SDC officers, all those details that will ensure that you are effective in the mobilization towards our national cleanup. So thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, members, for your attention.
Well, let's see. Let's just wait for the questions. We're supposed to join Attorney at Law Bert Samuels at about 7:15.
The normal allocation for road patching that we would normally get, are we to understand that that's not going to be provided this time around, or that you're treating the payments? Yeah, however you feel comfortable. So is it that the payments that we receive for Melissa relief and for the emergency drain cleaning just before, and the housing allocation, is that kind of in lieu of the road patching resources that we would normally expect at this time to fix up roads? Many of us do that in January after the Christmas rush, because it's quite difficult to administer so many programs at the same time in December. But I'm wondering about that, because the roads, there's been a lot of rain, so the roads are in need of patching in the constituencies. So what is going to happen there? In terms of the national cleanup program, the role of the MPs will be what exactly in that? Because you've said that you're going to employ 100 to 200 per constituency in the areas where the cleanup is being done, which are the most badly affected areas. And the SDC is going to handle the engagement and training, you said, of those workers. So do the members of Parliament have any role in that at all? And if so, what is that role? Those are my questions.
Thank you, Leader of the Opposition. Let me start with the role of the MPs. I want it to be clearly understood, Mr. Speaker, that the MPs are integral and critical to the relief and recovery process, and there is no attempt in any way to marginalize or to obviate the office of the Member of Parliament. And in every program that we have designed, the office of the Member of Parliament is integrated and connected and contacted. And I want that to be established for the records. We must, however, appreciate, Mr. Speaker, that unwittingly, or maybe by design, we are every day changing the role of the Member of Parliament. The Member of Parliament is becoming less of a legislator and more of a standing office for social work, contracting, construction management. Madam Speaker, this collective body has to be very careful as to how it expands its role beyond its constitutional jurisdiction. And I'm always very sensitive to it, in as much as I am a Member of Parliament, and I say to all, especially the new members of Parliament, I do understand how you feel when you get out into the field and your constituents say, I need help. And if you were to say to them that my role is to go to Parliament and talk, or my role is to go to Parliament or to write a letter to, they're not going to understand that. They're not going to see the value of that. What they want to see is for you to be present with them in the rain, in the storm, as you were when you were seeking their vote. It is the nature of politics. It's not just Jamaica, it's everywhere. But as leaders, we have to be careful how we succumb to certain pressures that change the nature of our government, including how it lessens accountability and transparency. So I'm very sensitive to that. Absolutely. So it's not my intention to use the disaster response to change the nature of the office and function of the Member of Parliament. And I will say this in response, Leader of the Opposition. When we gave, when we made the allocation of $10 million to MPs, there were certain arguments being put. $10 million, this can't do anything. $10 million, and we agree, $10 million is absolutely insignificant to the overall picture. But note what MPs have said. We need more money for transporting the $10 million worth of goods, not to take it out of the $10 million, but we put money on top of that for transportation. Then some members of Parliament have said, we need funds to actually go and inspect the damage so that we can send back the picture. Then some members of Parliament have said, you know, we need staff to manage all of this. In other words, I appreciate, and I'm not saying that I don't understand the demands. I too am a member of Parliament. But the office was never designed in the first place to do this. And so either we are going to unwittingly allow it to happen, or if it is the collective mind that it be so, then we will have to sit down and properly provision the office of the Member of Parliament to become a department of the government that delivers service in the constituencies. So it is a reality. So I'm not meaning to open this as a debate, but I'm just pointing out. I'm just pointing out that these are things that, as the people who lead the country, we have to sometimes look above what the public is saying and what everybody else is saying and see what our collective action is doing. Are we leading or are we being led? Now, I mean, it is a debate to be had, Leader of the Opposition. It's a debate to be had, but I wouldn't. For this cleanup program, yes, that's what I'm coming to. So in this cleanup program, as in any other, we expect that the Member of Parliament will play a critical role in, one, recommending the persons who will be employed. Absolutely important. So you will be working along with your SDC officers. Number two, that you will be playing a role in identifying equipment that can be used in the cleanup. The NSWMA will be the coordinating body for the trucks and the tractors and the excavators and the power saws and all of those things. So the NSWMA may not know all the equipment that exists within your constituency or in your community. So you will coordinate with them. But just to be clear, MPs are not to get involved in any contracting or procurement matters. I think I have to say this and say it publicly and say it repeatedly. It is not your role. MPs can play a pivotal role in mobilizing the community. Now, when any program is announced with resources, as MPs, we know that the first thing that people see or ask is the money and how much you're going to get. But this is a national cleanup program where, though there is a component of pay, there is also a component of service. It is in all our interests to remove the debris from the communities. Let's be clear. There will be persons in communities who are not able themselves to remove the debris. Old persons, infirm persons. And therefore, as you organize the labor force, as members of parliament, you will have great knowledge of your communities as to where the help will be needed. So you can help to guide how the various work teams are directed, where they should go and how they should be deployed. So the members of parliament have a critical role to play, but I'm going to urge you to stay within the bounds of what you are constitutionally required to do. Now, the other question was the road patching. Mr. Speaker, we will not be able to do the road patching as we have done in the previous mitigation program because of one, the resource constraint, and number two, we would not want the NWA's resources to be tied up in treating with the procurement and contracting in other areas where the need is not as great as the 16 constituencies and some other targeted areas. So we have taken the decision to focus the efforts right now on getting those 16 areas back up and running. It doesn't mean that there will not be an allocation. It just means that you won't have the allocation now while this program is going on. Because the NWA will play a critical role in this national cleanup as well. Because remember now, most of the debris would be along their corridor, the NWA corridors and the parish council corridors. And we will need the NWA to help us with management and supervision of the various work teams, and to help us in the reporting of the removal of the debris. Because at some point in time, there will be accountability, there will be monitoring and evaluation. You might hear that, we move 20,000 truckloads of debris, and then, for some reason you can't account for 4,000 or 5,000. We don't want that. We want to be able to account for everything. So we're going to ask the NWA to help us with just managing how accounting for the removal of the waste, tracking, and helping us to understand in particular areas, for example, there might be light poles, some debris might block gullies, it might block culverts. So we want the NWA to be there to assist the work teams in proper guidance and direction to make sure that everything is done according to what proper civil works codes should be. I believe you had a third question, Leader of the Opposition. That was it? Good.
Yes, so that was Prime Minister Andrew Holness taking questions from the leader of the opposition. We're still keeping in view what is happening in the parliament. I know that there are other members that are going to be asking questions. As I said earlier, we have lined up, we have Bert Samuels to come on, but let's hear Natalie Garvey.
And the Central St. Andrew could possibly get the same funding for bushing when this amount by NWA rates and standard would only do about 3 of my main thoroughfares. So I'm not picking on you, but my colleagues as well. Why would I get up in North Central St. Catherine, where the vegetation is so overgrown? I don't know how I could be compared to East Kingston and Port Royal. So I'm not picking on you. Benasido, I am batting for rural constituencies at this time. the bush are closing on the cars. The people have nowhere to walk. Down in St. Andrew, is it northeast where Chuck is? Yes, northeast. I think maybe you would probably beautify the curb walls, yes. But we have bush, the vegetation that cars can't pass without crying up the side of the vehicles.
Let's take it back to the Colin Bell show. So we're taking it away from the parliament and taking it back to the Colin Bell show. We'll have a lot of time to go back and dissect the critical things or the critical questions and answers that the Prime Minister will give or the members of the parliament will ask. Now, Jimmy Cliff passed away. And we have a touch on Jimmy Cliff this evening because when you talk about a icon, and as a sound clash selector, we beat up all heap of selector, use all 45 and beat up selector with them dub plate. They tell me of a pie up in the sky waiting for me when I die. But from the day you're born and to the day you die, it seems like they never hear when you cry. But as long as the sun will shine, as sure as the sun will shine, I am going to get my share of what's mine. Because the harder they come is the harder they fall. And that's what we say, you know. That's what we say, Sister Tanya. That's what we say, TJ. The oppressors are trying to keep me down, trying to push me underground. But I say, forgive them, Lord, because they know not what they have done. As sure as the sun will shine, I'm going to get my share of what's mine. Yeah, man. Jimmy Cliff, in my book, second only to the king, Robert Nesta Marley. Second only to the king, Robert Nesta Marley. I tell you now, the real big people them in the business.
Giant of reggae music has passed away. Jimmy Cliff was 81 years old.
Yes, sir. The harder they come, the harder they fall. One and all. That's Jimmy Cliff, an icon. Should be referred to as the Honorable Jimmy Cliff. Yeah, man. Trying to get senior attorney at law, Bert Samuels, on the line. A man who knows Jimmy Cliff personally and can tell we a whole heap about Jimmy. Hold on for my counsel. Because we are talking about Jimmy Cliff. I mean, the tributes in the parliament today was overwhelming. In fact, Babsy Green said she and Colin Davis produce the other day come. Yeah, I never did know that. Say Babsy Green was a part of the production team. Bert Samuels, good evening. How you do?
I'm great, man. I'm good, you know.
Blessings, man. Giving God thanks. Welcome to Caribbean Radio HD. Welcome to Portland Spice TV. Bert, Jimmy Cliff, an icon. You know him personally. Talk to us about him.
Well, you know, Jimmy represents a country boy come to town. No opportunity for black people. When Jimmy Cliff came to town, you know, if you have his color, you could work in a bank, you know.
Wow.
And therefore, you couldn't be a teller in Barclays Bank in Jamaica unless you were light-skinned.
So education couldn't help you them the time there?
No. And black people couldn't get business. I mean, you go for a loan, you're not going to get it. Another race could go to these banks and get it. So young people must understand that when you look like Jimmy Cliff, you're an outcast.
Wow.
You're an outcast. So you have to understand the context in which he came to rise. Now, you see like how is only, country people and poor people children really go Olympics, can win races and all that.
Yeah.
We're talking about, and you see how language of Jamaica comes from the belly of the people.
Yes.
When you say I man, and when you say
I and I,
Jamaican, I and slang, that comes from the belly of the people. So Jimmy Cliff came from the belly of the people as a young boy. And one of the points I like about Jimmy, he said, listen, when I come to the city and I had a choice, I could have taken up gun and go out foolishness. And then he said, but how would I feel when my people in the country hear me their town as a criminal?
Yeah.
So he decided to use his singing talents and writing talent and go out there. And therefore, I'm 71. I'm proud of Jimmy. He's about maybe 8 years older than yo. All right.
Go ahead, Bert. May I listen to you? We lost Bert Samuels? It's like I may kick him off. Oh gosh, let me get him back. Let me get back Bert Samuels. Because I must kick him off, by taking the call, let me kick him off of the phone. Lord have mercy. Where I get some good history. Yesterday we had a wonderful evening. Bert Samuels, sorry about that. My bad. Hold back the line for me. That was my bad. Go ahead, Bert.
Where did I get cut off?
Say you tell about him saying could have take up gun.
Yes, he say him could have take up the gun because the ghetto life in Jamaica was pointing in that direction. So
yes.
So the lesson from Jimmy Cliff, is that you have a choice. Your young listeners listening to you now. Boy, life's tough, and whatever. You have a choice. You can go the Jimmy Cliff route, or you can go the Jimmy Cliff in Harder They Come route.
Yes.
And Harder They Come and take up the gun because he was showing how that lifestyle would not help. So that is why he's a role model to young people to say, listen, no matter how you feel downtrodden and the fact that you are marginalized because of your color, because you don't have no university degree, life don't done. Life is going on.
Yes.
And I listened to an interview with him and he said when he writes Many Rivers to Cross, he was thinking of the experience of African Jamaicans who were brought here as enslaved people.
Mm-hmm.
So here it is now. And what I like about these singers, including Bob Marley, they didn't go to tertiary institutions, but they listened to their history,
yes,
knew their history, and put them pen to paper.
And make music from it.
Yeah, make music. And therefore, they spread the history through songs.
Yes.
So they are teachers. These are philosophers and teachers. And then when he sang "Treat the Youth Right,"
nobody been up a fight.
That's right. He was now not forgetting that him did young one time.
I give a joke about that song, When I was working at KLAS and I was doing a program on a Sunday evening and I was supposed to play soul music. And I don't remember what was happening with some youth, and I played the song and Mr. Stewart come in and I said, What? What? You playing reggae in my segment? Alston Stewart.
Yes.
I was playing Treat the Youth Right.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So what I like about these singers, although they got money, and although they became famous, Jimmy never forgot his roots. I saw him in a photograph that I took with him and my daughter. He was at the stadium.
Yeah.
And he sit down on some tough iron scaffolding and talking to her. Nowhere was below him.
Yes.
Nowhere was below him. So he kept it real.
Yeah, man.
He kept it real.
I think I buck him up. I think I buck him up on the road once. And Regular bus in my roll. Some people want these luxury bus. In my roll a regular bus with the trailer up on the back. You know, so
never forget him, roots. Never forget.
Yeah.
But do you know that he's first cousin to the Blairs? That there's Christian pastors. Did you know that?
no, Bishop Errol Blair.
Yeah, he's his first cousin. His two brothers are sister and brother picking them.
How way I
Yes. Yes,
His success, though, Bert, goes a far way. Places like Brazil embraced his music.
Yes. Yeah. And you see, he crossed language barriers. No, listen, it's few artists, can be singing in English, and people who speak in Portuguese enjoy their music. You know what that means?
Yes.
It's the spirit and the vibes. It's not the words. It's the spirit and the vibes. Because when Jimmy Cliff singing, them man they don't singing, man. Them man they echoing the people, man. The history,
man.
man.
And up until his death, his voice was still clean.
Yes.
Clean.
Yes. Very much so. Very much so.
But
so,
what kind of person?
You know, the artists, they were going like them bigger than everybody, and them have a entourage, a man behind them, and them think them reach.
Yes.
Them need to learn Jimmy Cliff humility, because they can't reach where him reach.
But let's talk a little bit about The Harder They Come. That movie, Bert Samuels, is a movie I still watch with anticipation.
Yes.
What are your views on that movie?
Well, when he was interviewed, and the writer and the man who give him the role to play, see Jimmy and said, Jimmy, he's a better actor than a singer. And Jimmy Cliff said, but, I believe you. I always thought so. You know what's great about that?
Yeah.
Him conquer singing. Him conquer singing. And him go to another form of artistry. No, it's not many people who can do that. Cross over from being a performing artist to become an actor.
Yeah.
And therefore, the versatility.
But Bert, did Jimmy Cliff go to acting school?
No, man. Them man, they just do it raw, man.
Natural.
Acting school. Yeah, because, listen, the role where them give him for playing Harder They Come is him life,
Yes.
You see that,
Yes.
So,
and the fact that the man just nailed it.
Yes.
Do you believe that people are born with talent, Bert? People are born with the talent and you just harness it?
Let me tell you what Jimmy Cliff Live tells us. That give more opportunity, so much of our marginalized youth, boys and girls, would have done so much better. That is why, they should have recording studio as part of schools.
Yes.
Where youth can go in there. But you see, the music get a fight. Just like how you say class never want to play music on a Sunday.
Yeah.
There's a class attitude to reggae, that, you don't rate a youth who say want to become a reggae artist. You look down on that. And what we do now is Brand Jamaica comes out of reggae singers more than any other thing. Our intellectuals, and it's only our athletes and our reggae artists that create Brand Jamaica, You tell me.
Yeah, yes. And I have been saying to this government, Bert, and to the people of this country that it is the culture and the creative industry that have Jamaica's wealth. If we tap into it, we can become a wealthy nation.
Yes. But we don't get the recognition. When you see the Rasta colors abroad, and when you see Bolt in the airport, a big statue in the airport in Europe and all that.
Yeah.
It's people that look like Jimmy and Bolt who are not recognized and respected in Jamaica that create Brand Jamaica.
But Bert, I've been telling people, because I've had the opportunity of traveling with a couple of artists. And when you reach a foreign country, a red carpet, you get people, the amount of people who come for you at the airport, the kind of vehicle where them come for you with, the kind of attention that you get for the 4 or 5 days that you are in that space, shows the respect that the
I tell
music
you.
and Jamaicans have out there.
I tell you, when I went to Ghana in Africa in 1996, and I stand up at a bus stop and a man recognized that I am Jamaican.
Yes.
And him said to me, you know Bob Marley? I say, yes. Him say, I saw Bob Marley. Hey, a crowd surround me. Them want to know. We must tell them about Bob Marley. I hear this now. They said that they think that Bob Marley go to the university, you know, because of what he writes.
Yes.
Them think him is some great university student and philosopher, you know.
Yes.
They couldn't believe when I tell him, say, Bob, go primary school, him not going no further. So the respect that our artists, Jimmy Cliff, all of them, has given to Jamaica to counteract the bad image that some youths creating, that we're so violent and we shoot people for little or nothing. That's why I said Jimmy Cliff's story is, don't be the Jimmy Cliff in Harder They Come. Be the Jimmy Cliff in the real life.
Yes. Yes.
Don't take up no gun. Okay? Don't help you. And there are parts in Jimmy Cliff in Harder They Come where you see him go to the producer and the producer, him try to impress the producer and the producer say, no man, we're not use you.
Yeah.
Because what that part in Harder They Come show is the struggle of reggae artists who had to line up and beg.
Which still happen today, you know. It's not so bad like back then, but it still happen today. People still line up at the studio and beg a producer to advise him.
Yes, yes. That's because we don't show respect to that industry.
No, we don't. And it is the industry that can create the kind of wealth that our people need.
Watch this.
Well, Bert,
Okay.
may his soul rest in peace and light perpetual shine upon him.
Yeah, man. He has made us proud, man. He has lived a long life and proud, you know?
So many hit songs. So many songs that he has even covered. That he has made them great after covering them. But Jimmy Cliff, his music will live on forever. Bert Samuels, thanks for the time, my brother.
One love, man.
Blessings. Attorney at law, Bert Samuels. I want to say good evening to the people at Food Eyes Caribbean Cuisine over there in Coral Spring, Florida. Good evening to all the ladies in the restaurant. Happy to know that you are listening over there at Good Food Eyes. Food Eyes. What? I like the name. Food Eyes. You have eyes for food. Yeah, man. Coral Spring. They deal with Caribbean cuisine. So I'm going to check them out over there in Florida if you want food. 876-804-7072. We're going to be taking your calls up until the end of the show. We're going up until 8 o'clock. I want to say good evening to Sister Cynthia, Sister Tanya, all of the people over there at Caribbean Radio. Caribbean Radio, 97.9 HD4. Chris Campbell, Jimmy Cliff was an international star before Bob Marley. He was always searching for the truth, both intellectually and spiritually. Yeah, Jimmy Cliff turned Muslim, you know. He's only one of two reggae singers in the Music Hall of Fame, himself and Bob Marley. Yeah, man, Jimmy Cliff, great, great Jamaican. Somebody I always wanted to book for a show, you know. Yeah. I still think Jimmy Cliff have some of the more classic music. The rebel in me can bring the rebel in you. And if the rebel in you can touch the rebel in me. Don't make no rainfall, Colin. Stop it. Stop it. Yeah, man. Most of the music coming out today in Jamaica is garbage. No, I don't agree with you. The ones that you hear, there are some solid music still coming out of Jamaica. But people who are playing music nowadays don't have a taste for the proper music. Yeah? And therefore, you have to listen to when some of the top presenters play. And I don't play willy-nilly anymore because I now value the kind of music I play. And the kind of music I play, not a lot of people have those songs. And not a lot of people appreciate, not a lot of the people who play appreciate the kind of music. You know, but one of them evening up on Caribbean Radio, we're going to take on to school. give you some of what you've been missing. You know, but right now we're dealing with serious matters of burial. So a lot of people were calling earlier on while the parliament was on. When my prime minister talk, me not take no more calling now. Now if allow my prime minister for call, for talk. Good night. Oh, so Golden just answer your question. So we are now taking over the economic space on social media. Mainstream radio, Ralston Hyman is the man. Over here is where we come. Oh, some people say once you play radio, them not listen. Well, let me tell you this. Andrew Michael Holness is the Prime Minister of Jamaica. I'm a citizen of Jamaica. I'm a resident of Jamaica. And those people who still love Jamaica will still have to pay respect to the Prime Minister and listen when the Prime Minister speak. Because the Prime Minister made the necessary announcements. So we have to listen. But what is this that him giving our councillor $150,000 for do? Prime Minister, I think you lose your head. What it is you're giving a councillor $150,000 for do? If you put that in pocket. A joke. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Colin Bell Show.
Hey, Colin, where go on? Good night, sir.
Blessings, man. Welcome.
A long time I not calling, but here me now. I send Elizabeth Millie.
Me I come down the Thursday, somewhere down that way there. Me have 60 cases of water in the van already. I start load the van already. And we'll put some more things in the van. We're heading that side Thursday. I don't decide exactly where we're going, but we're heading to St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, somewhere down there, Trelawney and over.
That is a good idea, man. Good idea. But you can't do too much for the main because here now, a lot of people on the main getting things and the people them off the off-road. Somebody look here.
Yeah, the people on the main getting several times.
Yes, man, because once a man sees people, then just stop. But anyway, my main reason for calling you hear me?
Yes, man, loud and clear.
All right, so I have a friend who operates a business at Black River. And behind his business, drain is blocked that takes water to the river. Then the river would send it to the sea. There was a team came there 1 week after the hurricane and they started cleaning it up. But for some reason they left, I don't know why. But the roads are clear somewhat, but there's a lot of water still running in the roads. All right. So my reason for calling you is that if we can get the drains to be clean, then persons will be able to wash out their building, their business place, and clean the plaza areas and get the water running. If you get a truckload of water and wash off your plaza, that water still basically going to stay around the area.
Now, if run off. Run off.
Yes.
Well, the Prime Minister just said that he's allocating $10 million to each member of Parliament. He also said the 16 members of Parliament in the most affected areas will get other allocation. So your MP is Floyd Green.
Yes.
Reach out to him and hear what is happening. We had Miranda on yesterday, you know. I mean, people, if you never heard Miranda Wellington yesterday, we're putting up the clips on Portland Spice TV. You don't need to go listen. It's a story that needs to be written, needs to be filmed. You don't need to go listen to it. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Miranda is my girl. But hear me now, I don't even see the member of Parliament. Even my friend who run a business, reach out to him and I'll know he has a response.
All right, what about government agencies? Anybody come to your brethren or come to you here to get your name, get your TRN, get your number, the level of damage that you occur, take pictures of your place? Anybody do that yet?
No, listen to me. He doesn't want...
No, man, hold on. Hold on, caller.
No, man.
We need that question to be answered. Anybody do that?
Well, I'm not sure, but I know he had to reach out to the council, and the council said they are in the red.
No, man, hold on, man. Hold on. Just, I'm going to allow you to say what you're saying, but I want to get this clear. You know, no have no government, nobody no go to him yet, take him name, him phone number, him TRN, take picture in place and all them something yet?
No. None of that.
Down there you live to?
Yes, man.
Nobody no come to you yet either?
No, man, nobody no come to me. Well, let me reach out. I live in a scheme, and we have there's a representative from NHC scheme. We have done our our estimate on our house and so forth that has been damaged.
So it's an NHT scheme you live in a? Is that NHT scheme you live in a?
Yeah, man. Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
and you have a
so
we not going in your business still, but at NHT you make yours true?
Yes, man.
So
yes,
that
man.
means you have
yes,
insurance.
Yes, man. Yes, man. So it's not, I'm not calling about me.
Right, me understand you.
Yes. So what I am saying is, I also operate a business in the town too.
Yeah.
But my bridging is more affected because the water running behind his business place.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just saying that we just need somebody to facilitate us. Clean out it's all right. Come next 3 days, 2 days is 1 month since the storm came.
Yes.
Those drains should be clean and having water run. We know not every building is going to be built back, but if we can get some of the business in the town to start operate, we will have people getting work, we'll have people coming in the town to shop, and we'll start seeing signs. Because as we speak now, the government is not getting $1 from Black River.
No. An Uncle Black River,
I mean?
whole heap of place they're not collecting the money from
man.
now.
But I'm speaking about Black River now.
Yeah.
You understand me? So what I'm saying to you, if the government is serious about the economy, because the economy is in trouble right now as we speak, you would start facilitate these people who are trying to get their business up and running.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
So a lot of stagnant water still in the town of Black River then?
Yes, man. Yes.
And those
and
are what?
And it's really when the rain fall, so all right, evaporation take place.
Yeah.
So, but after when the rain fall again, you have a next set of stagnant water just there.
And that is what will cause the breakout of certain diseases.
Yeah, most definitely. So the main drain them that takes the water to the river, we need those to be clean.
Okay.
Because I don't want to continue to repeat myself, but as my Virgin want to wash off his plaza, and he's unable to do that because the water won't go anywhere.
All right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, clearly.
And I'm saying,
clearly.
If my member of parliament walk through Black River, but I see that and see the importance and find the little finer details. People just want little facilitating.
And you're saying you're not seeing the member of parliament on the ground?
I personally have not seen him in my scheme. I am telling you that.
So what about his office? Has anybody gone to his office to find out?
My office don't mash up money in our office.
Your office mash up?
Yes, man.
Wow. Well, Miranda told us yesterday that is only the bridge, the sea, and the river left for Black River, you know.
Basically.
She said, fear office never mash up.
And some of the strong buildings.
Say, fear office never mash up. Fear office not get no damage.
No, her office is in a good place.
All right, my brother. All right, thanks for the call.
We should vote for her.
We're going to try and reach out.
I need you to highlight this.
I have the minister number. I have your MP number. We're going to reach out to them because, as I said to the people on this channel, we want all the government ministers to come here to give information to the people. We have questions. We are not blogger or vlogger. We are broadcasters. So when you come, it is decency personified. All right, my brother.
Yeah, my respect.
Blessings. 876-804-7072. Over 30 years we in this media business. Yeah, man. So we're not newbie to this. We're not come here to tell lies. And we're not preaching no politics now. The election is over. We're talking about governance. We're looking after the well-being of Jamaica. This show, when we talk about the economy, when we give our opinion, we say it's an opinion. When we talk data, we're talking data. Data, raw data, can't be challenged. That's why they can cuss with so and call with name, but you can't challenge with lyrics. where arguments stand predominant. What you want? The GDP of the country for gone down and we must not tell you. Can't hide the truth from the youth. That's how Itana say. We have to speak the truth. Who I met a girl this morning. It was love at first sight. She asked me what my name. I tell her it is Colin. And when me ask her for her name, she said Jamaica. And I said, smile, girl, smile. Smile for me, Jamaica. But we've been telling them that there are some people who are fighting for power, but they know not the hour. So they come bribing with their old boss, spare parts and money, trying to belittle our integrity. Yeah, man. They say that what we know is just what they teach us. Some people just too ignorant. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Colin Bell Show.
Good evening, Colin. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
This is Cynthia. I'm calling from Jacksonville, Florida.
Jacksonville, Florida. Good evening. Go right ahead.
Do you know anything about the wharf situation with barrels going down and it's for free for you to clear it?
If you want to get barrel down for free, you have to link up with the ODPM. Go on the ODPM website, and I think there they will explain how that happens. There's a process.
Oh, okay. They didn't say that though. It says ODEPM.
Yes, ODPM.
ODP. Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. Take care. Okay.
Yeah, man. Cool. Kingston, Jamaica, reeling from devastation brought by the passing of Hurricane Melissa. Last month, the local economy is expected to register as much as a 13% decline in gross domestic product. The gross domestic product output during the last quarter of this year, according to preliminary estimate released by the Planning Institute of Jamaica, is the same thing Ralston just read. Director General of the PIOJ, Dr. Wayne Henry, is sharing a grim short-term outlook. Said at a quarterly press briefing today, this Tuesday, that the expectation is for there to be wholesale contraction across most of the island's key industries such as agriculture, tourism. This as the seven most affected parishes account for the bulk of domestic crops. I tell you now, anybody you see me bring on this platform, it's people with credibility. Tomorrow evening, we're going to be talking about the container houses. We're bringing on Dr. Christopher Burgess, a PhD, who understands these buildings and know about them. And let me say it right here, so the container house, them not fit for Jamaica. Spoke to another brethren of mine, it was one yesterday morning, and he was explaining to me what container house is. Some of them are not really the hard steel container, I want to say. Some of them, because they come in a container, they call them container house. You see them carry them upon it and then them who draw them up and them open out. That's not the original container we come on the ship. Two different things. My brethren yesterday morning told me that those container house will make out of foam and some kind of ply can't stand 60 miles per hour wind. And we have given them a idea that we stand by, and we say it's solid, that the government should assist the people with building on concrete frames. Frame out concrete house. You don't even have to put wall. Column, bring it to floor, column, roof, cantilever, concrete, and people will put in the sides and the partition, that we know can stand a Category 5 hurricane. That will stand up for 100 years. You're talking about container houses, and they won't be here before the end of February, maybe the end of March. And if we know Jamaica, because Miranda told us yesterday evening that it was a few weeks before the election that people get hurricane burial money. Yeah? Hurricane burial money. Burial was last year, July. Turned up just before the election in September. So when we there here, I hold the government to account, and you have some little fly be there. When Miranda called them, Miranda say you have to be careful, you know, because some of them, when they're on social media, not necessarily have no logical sense. Them just talk. It's not that these are people who are sensible. So therefore, we have to be careful and understand how we deal with these people. And I'm saying to those of you who are critical thinkers, when you go up on them platform, you have to be careful. Because they would draw away with them rubbish. Let me play what Miranda said yesterday about them. Play this. We're talking to a lady who is among the people every single day. I don't know she live, I don't know she work, she's not in school. What happened to your school, Miranda?
It's been used now as a hospital site, but I think today they tried to reopen with a few year groups.
The
so
school
we're
is being
transitioning.
used as a hospital site.
Hospital site.
So part of the Black
Yes.
River Hospital is at your school now. Which school is that again?
Black River High School.
So Black River High School is now hosting part of the Black River Hospital.
That was that was destroyed also in Hurricane Barry.
The
So all
people.
major institutions.
Wanna hear
Remember,
what is
Parish
happening?
Council devastated. The hospital
Hold on.
was
So the Parish
severely
Council
damaged.
building mash up too.
Everything, the courthouse, man. There is nothing left in Black River, which is that is the parish capital, and that is the where all the agencies are located. There is nothing left in Black River except the sea and the bridge.
And the Black River.
The schools
And the river itself.
Yeah. The river and the sea and the bridge. I can tell you. The river.
No,
There's
people
nothing
were not
left.
laughing at the situation. You know, it's just what Miranda said. The river, the sea, and the bridge. I just not left on Black River.
Yes, man, I can tell you that. I can tell you.
Jesus.
If you go to Black River now, you have hundreds of people just sitting outside because they have no light. So the one little solar light then come out because they can't go in, because mosquito kill
Hold
them
on.
with bite.
You see, when I hear that, you need to go listen it. It is on Portland Spice TV. The story from St. Elizabeth. Make certain you listen to it. It is in depth. It's 3 clips we're posting it in. I will post 2 clips already. We have the final clip for post of that interview that we did yesterday with Miranda Wellington, giving you detail. Sister Cynthia, no, the container house is not fit for Jamaica. Not fit for Jamaica, that we have hurricane on a regular basis. We had Berry last year. We have Melissa this year. There's no guarantee that we will have another hurricane next year. So those container houses, and you know Jamaica stay, once they come here, they're going to be a thing. They're not going to take them down. So we are suggesting that in Westmoreland, we heard Dayton Campbell today say that there's a lot of government land down there. We need to give the people some of the government land. Yeah, man. Give the people crown land. Make they shell them upon them. 24 by 12. Frame it out. Do the flooring. Bring up the column them. Put in the beam them. Cast the top. And say to a family, say to a man or a family, say, this is what we are doing for you. Add on upon it. Jamaicans will do well with those. They will add on onto them. When I came up with the idea, I never know about sites and service. But since I came up with the idea, a lot of people are saying that back in the 70s or 60s, There was a thing called sites and service after a hurricane, and those houses that were built then are still there. So we're suggesting concrete house for the Jamaican space, not these container house. Because even if you get the real container, when you talk about White House down at Westmoreland, Black River, them place there, near the sea, so they are going to rust. They are going to rust. What we're saying, concrete roof, concrete structure, use Jamaican tradesmen, create jobs in the community. In fact, Mark Golden said it in a press conference today. Run some money through the communities. Start moving the economy again. That is what the government needs to do. Instead of going to use foreign exchange to send go China or some other country, go buy container house when we can use the money right here for ramp up our economy, because we are going to be in a long stretch, long stretch. Somebody saying it's in the 70s. Anthony Spalding was Minister of Housing then. Yeah, man, you see, you need somebody to drive this recovery. It's not been moving. A lot of people are still suffering. We heard Daryl Vaz in the parliament today say people still are living under tarpaulin. Then if you know that, why we haven't seen any evacuation? And of course, in that press conference today, I asked a series of questions. We have not played any of those questions this evening, but we did ask a series of questions in the press conference today. And we're going to be posting them. It worse than that, Mama. It worse than that. Remember that the World Bank said it's 41% of our GDP wipe out, So it worse than where we and Henry are put him. Now I put the real thing. So today, as I was saying in the press conference today, I asked a number of questions. And we'll be talking about some of those tomorrow. And we'll be discussing them right here. Next week, Tuesday, we're going to be back on Caribbean Radio HD. And we have to start shy away from the parliament, because obviously the parliament sometimes takes up a lot of the program. And yeah. So what we're going to do. But when the Prime Minister is talking, people, you can't go around that. You have to listen to the Prime Minister. You understand? And questions are being asked. You have to listen to the questions. So sometimes it's difficult to not take on the parliament when the parliament comes your way on a Tuesday. I want to say thanks to everybody for listening. Thanks to Ralston Iman for coming in. Thanks to Bert Samuels talking about Jimmy Cliff today. We lose an icon, the late Jimmy Cliff. And of course, there's a Jimmy Cliff Boulevard down there in Montego Bay, because you heard Bert said Jimmy Cliff is a countryman. Jimmy Cliff is originally from St. James. Yeah, man. And him have a studio at Kingston, close to at the top of Eaning Road. That's where his studio is. So, yeah, one of them thing there. But may his soul rest in peace and life perpetual shine upon him. I think you should go back to the parliament, Colin, because there's something you want to hear. It's what happening at parliament now when you want to hear. Babsy supposed to talk already, because I think Babsy would have spoken before Prime Minister Andrew Holness. But since you give me a hint, let me take a peep and say what is happening in the parliament at this time. It's still Andrew? Well, we're going to take Andrew Holness until we close, all right? So let's get back Andrew Holness.
Blood! Why? Because he has such a...
And we're going to take Andrew Holness onto the close of the show. So let me just thank everybody on Caribbean Radio. This has been the Colin Bell Show for yet another Tuesday. Remember, we are on every Tuesday, 6 to 8 on Caribbean Radio. And check out my social media page, Portland Spice TV at YouTube. Check it out, give it a like, give it a subscribe.
That it be extended for 10 minutes to complete the presentation.
The request is on the floor. Those in favor? Those against, the ayes have it. You may continue, Prime Minister. Mike, please.
Mr. Speaker, it is oftentimes under, not looked upon as being of any great import. You know, one member I overheard saying, when God South Africa, you should be here marshalling the recovery. And I shake my head. I shake my head. And the reason why is that I understand how our electorate and how even some of our intellectuals will think about it. And we didn't take the decision of going lightly. In fact, Mr. Speaker, up until a couple of days before, the decision was that I would not be going. But we discussed it and we debated it, and the offer was even extended for us to attend. And we decided that, given that that was the case, we attended. But I want to say this, Mr. Speaker, and it's very important to say. The measure of the recovery is not going to be in how fast you deliver the package of food. The measure of the recovery is going to be how fast you return electricity and water. How you kept the population safe from diseases and health risks and mentally positive in outlook. But the ultimate measure is going to be how you rebuild forward better. Not that you take up a shack that was destroyed in the hurricane and build back another shack. That is not what is going to be measured as success. And to do that, the time of the Prime Minister is not best used handing out a bag of this and a bag of that. The time of the Prime Minister is best used mobilizing the international community to deliver the billions of dollars that is going to be necessary to rebuild the country. So for those people who want to create mischief and mislead people, I leave my judgment to the reconstruction. So this week, there you go. So in the weeks ahead, the government will prepare and circulate to all partners the detailed Jamaica Reconstruction and Resilience Program document, including costing, phasing, governance structures, environmental and social safeguards, and expected impact, that is in terms of job productivity, technology adoption. We'll convene a partner donor roundtable virtually and then in person to formalize the international support package with a view to securing commitments by the end of the first quarter of 2026. And then we will commence with the first initial tranche of early action projects under our framework to demonstrate momentum, accountability, and value for money to our partners, as well as to the Jamaican people, and to ensure that Jamaica's disaster risk financing architecture is fully leveraged and our fiscal framework remains prudent, and that all assistance aligned with our national development priorities and climate resilience goals. Mr. Speaker, I wish to express gratitude to all the Jamaican delegation members and government officials who supported the work in South Africa. I also wish to thank the members of the diaspora who I got the opportunity to meet in South Africa. And let me also extend gratitude to all of our development partners and international institutions for their engagement. Most importantly, I wish to assure the House and the Jamaican people that this mission generated significant dividends, commitments, committed attention to the highest level of global governance to Jamaica's needs, specific bilateral affirmations of partnership, and tangible forward momentum on Jamaica's key strategic priorities. I now commend this statement to the House and look forward to a collective move forward to resilience, prosperity, and an inclusive Jamaica.
Prime Minister, thank you for the statement. I have a couple of In relation to the 650 million that has already been mobilized from the insurances and other sources, could you give me a breakdown of that 650 million? I know CRIF is about 90, the cat bond about 150. What I'd like to know whether the balance of that money reflects insurances or whether those reflect any loans that we have taken from any other multilateral partners. I know the 500 million you refer to is an IMF drawdown, which comes from the Rapid Financing Facility. With the 1.15 that we have in hand, could you indicate how much of that we have spent in the recovery effort so far, and what are some of the immediate priorities? For example, we know many people have lost livelihoods in the tourism industry. We know SMEs have been decimated. What is the plan to provide immediate relief to those particular stakeholders where if you don't provide the relief now, the problem is going to be a bigger problem 6 months, 9 months, 12 months down the road? Secondly, and your colleague may be able to answer this better, are we receiving the full 150 million from the cat bond, or are there any fees or charges related to it, which would maybe 10%? I don't know what the figure is, but are there monies deducted from that to give a net value to the Jamaican people? And then I take note of the plan, and I don't think anybody on this side would have any criticism of your trip to South Africa to lobby for funding, and I don't think anybody said that. But from the preliminary discussions that you would have had with your multilateral partners, have you any indication at this stage, accepting that you wouldn't have something firm, of commitments that would help to close that gap of approximately $4 billion? And then for the Minister of Finance, what would be your projection? You're not the minister, but we haven't gotten a statement from her. We know we're at about 62% GDP. We had to expect to get down to 60 before the end of the fiscal year. You're obviously going to have to borrow. What is your projection in the short term in terms of what you anticipate our debt to GDP will rise to in the short term, and then over time, what you think, what level we would be at? And finally, you had indicated a couple of weeks ago, we're going to relax the fiscal rules, which nobody would have an argument with. Have we begun or started that process, formally submitting the report to the Independent Fiscal Commission, etc., so that that process is underway, and we have formally made the overtures to the respective multilateral agencies in relation to seeking funding?
Member from St. Andrew Southeast.
Yeah, solid questions.
You mentioned in your presentation a new creature in our our fiscal landscape called the Fiscal Commissioner. And the Fiscal Commissioner examines all our statements and everything that the government puts forward for its credibility and whether or not it is sound. And they will make pronouncements. So we on this side have enforced a particular discipline. And that is when it comes to speaking on some of these fiscal issues, we allow the Minister of Finance to speak first. The Minister of Finance will come to Parliament Tuesday next week with some of the things that you have just asked. For example, you have asked about whether or not we have started the process to change the fiscal rules. Yes, it has begun, and the Minister will come with the necessary legislative changes that are necessary. And that process of bringing our supplementary and having it reviewed by the Fiscal Commissioner, that is underway. So a supplementary will come next week. So I don't want to answer questions that ought rightfully to be presented by the Minister of Finance at that time. I would say to you, though, that you have asked questions regarding, you've asked a question regarding what we have gotten in terms of the catastrophe bond and these things. The catastrophe bond, I understand that it's a full payment, but there are usually some small fees and so attached. What that is, I couldn't say. I don't know now, but the Minister of Finance, I will have her undertake to present that when she presents next week. Our fiscal resilience plan starts with savings, which we put into our National Disaster Risk Fund, then contingencies, which we set aside from each budget, then insurance, for example, the CRIF, then our catastrophe bond, which we have gotten a full payout from, and from the CRIF, Minister, you remind me what we got from the CRIF? About 91 billion. And then we have access to prearranged financing, essentially prearranged debt that we can get at concessionary rates. And that would come from our partners, the IMF, the World Bank, and the IDB. From the IDB, there are some prearranged funds that can go up to as much as about 450 million, 400 million, thereabout. We will not be able to get all of it because some of it is reliant on some triggers being met. Those triggers have not been met in this disaster. The CAF, which is the Central American Development Bank, they have given us a grant, but they have said that they would be prepared to give us financing as well. So my visit to the G20 to meet with all of these leaders all in one place was to secure funding over and above what we have already secured through the various systems that I have mentioned, from savings to prearranged debt, because the extent of the damage surpasses what we had prearranged and what we have set aside in savings and contingencies and insurance. So we need to go to the international community, make our case, garner friends, get influence in these international financial entities to look at Jamaica's case specially or give special consideration so that we can get access to more financing. That's the essence of it.
Just a follow-up. Could you indicate how much we have raised from the, I think it's the Support Jamaica website, in terms of funding, and whether we have been using those funds to deal with the ongoing responding to the emergencies, etc., and whether those funds are managed through the Ministry of Finance or an appropriate government agency, and whether the same rules that apply in terms of procurement, etc., for normal government-related funds apply to those that would be raised through the Support Jamaica website.
Technically, all the funds should go into our National Disaster Risk Fund. Some of them go to ADPEM, go to the account, the ADPEM account. But all the funds are under the management and supervision of the regular fiscal and financial rules that pertain to any funding that the government of Jamaica has. The question is whether or not, so your question is, did they go into the central consolidated fund or did they go into a special fund? If they went into the consolidated fund, then they are at the disposal of the government. If they go into the disaster risk fund, then they can only be spent under certain conditions and for certain purposes. And so any fund that is related to disasters goes into the disaster risk fund, unless either the donor or the person lending specifies that it can be for budgetary support, which I haven't seen much of that recently. Now, the question that you're asking is, have we spent any of those funds on the relief effort? My understanding is that we have first utilized what we have in the contingency, meaning what we have set aside in the budget, and then what we have in the fund itself. So in other words, we are only spending so far Jamaica's money because that's immediate and you know what it is. The others keep, it keeps coming. One day you hear it's X amount, then by tomorrow more comes in. So we'll soon know what the full picture is. I believe the ADPEM director at some point would have given some updates. I don't have those figures with me. Yeah, but I will undertake, member, that at the next time that I speak publicly, I will have the figures available as to exactly what has been raised from all the efforts. A global figure, I'll make those available. And just to be clear, Mr. Speaker, I know there's a lot of talk about government getting money and not using it, and we have to be so careful that these kinds of careless talk. Now, for the people, Mr. Speaker, I'm about to say something, and I just want to be clear. For the people who are saying it, and gaining influence on persons who don't understand, it is dangerous. Because, there is a public that believes that somehow we sit here and we are trying to somehow take away money that has come for the relief of the people. Let me say this clearly, Mr. Speaker. It would be morally reprehensible for anyone to be using any government resources in any way that has been given or borrowed for relief or any other action to mitigate the damage of this hurricane for any personal or private gain. And if there is any such thing happening, I don't have to wait for any other entity to ferret it out or find it. I will find it myself. Let it be on the record, Mr. Speaker, that this is not the first disaster that this government has had to address. There was never a question about the administration of resources for Hurricane Beryl. No donor said what I gave, I don't know how it was accounted for. Let it be clear that for the entire administration of the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, where the government of Jamaica executed the largest social protection program in the history of Jamaica. There wasn't even one question of misappropriation of funds.
I will tell him so.
So I want to be clear,
I will tell him
Mr.
there was
Speaker,
no question.
that those persons who wish to tarnish myself, tarnish the government, you're tarnishing Jamaica with a lie. I am not worried so much, Mr. Speaker, because wherever I travel and I meet with the international community, you know what they say? They say, you have done an amazing job. And I'm not joking, Mr. Speaker. I don't have to say it about myself. The international officers who come here representing the international agencies, they go, and I don't ask them to, they go and say it publicly. Direct contradiction of the nonsense that some people are saying.
So
I know that hasn't done any damage at that level. Because they know, they see, they understand, they know the systems in place, and they know what would have happened in other countries. And they have confidence in the government. But some of them who are saying these things are people who know better, and they mislead. They mislead the people. So let me be clear in this parliament that this government will manage this disaster without any form of corruption, misdirection, maladministration, malfeasance, misfeasance. We are going to manage this disaster with the highest level of probity and integrity and accountability. And it is necessary to do this, Mr. Speaker, because the scale of what we need in support from the international community can only be gotten if the international community feels that we have the institutional framework to ensure that whatever resources are made available are properly used. So one can only say that those people who are spreading those rumors are determined to bring down Jamaica. They do not support. So as I stand here, Mr. Speaker, my statement is also a warning to us. Let's be clear, it is a warning to the government, but it is my duty also to dismiss and dispel falsehood.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I have really just one single question for the Prime Minister. Prime Minister, are you aware that your statement that the government will prepare and circulate to all partners the detailed Jamaica Reconstruction and Resilience Program document, including costings, phasing, governance structure, environmental and social safeguards, and all of that detail, will ring hollow if you do not ensure that there is indeed a coordinated and joined up approach to what is doing? Or persons will begin to ask, as they have started asking, why is it this early relief program has been so chaotic, disjointed, and partisan in how it has been carried out?
Mr. Speaker, what we have seen here and the question asked is a classic case of bringing the false notion onto a public platform. I can say here, Mr. Speaker, I can say here, and the member from Southwest, I call her my neighbor and my sister. And I try not to be harsh. I try not to be harsh. But she's saying that she can manage it. Mr. Speaker, the member from St. Andrew Southwest is not an expert in disaster recovery. The experts in disaster recovery have spoken, and they have spoken publicly on Jamaican media, on Jamaican radio. They have written documents, and they have said quite the opposite. In fact, they have commended Jamaica as a small island developing state for its response. The persons who peddle this falsehood, Mr. Speaker, seem to conveniently ignore that Hurricane Melissa was one of the strongest hurricanes to have hit Jamaica, not just in the Atlantic, but globally. It is in the top 3 strongest hurricanes. No other hurricane has done the level of damage to Jamaica in its recorded history than this one. None. Within hours after Hurricane Melissa, I picked up the phone and I called the acting chief of defense staff, the head of the NWA, the minister responsible for works, and I said to them, get the airport open. They were out there in the night checking the road to make sure, checking with the necessary authorities to make sure that planes could land. The following day, we were able to open the airport. Mr. Speaker, in a few days, hold on, in a few days, we were able to open the Sangster International Airport. In 72 hours, precisely. Now, let me be clear on this, Mr. Speaker. Let me be clear. Roads were blocked. Communities cut off. I don't like to talk about what the equipment capability of the JDF is. Well, we don't have enough helicopters. We just don't. It took 3 days for us to get additional airlift from our American friends, and I want to thank them for making the airlift available. 3 days. When I landed in Black River the day after, I sent a team by ground. That team could not pass through Holland Bamboo to get to me. When I called to say where they were still with machetes trying to cut their way through. JDF was there with them trying to cut their way through. Never forget it, a lady said she walked 20 miles. I saw her coming in to Black River, and she said a neighbor of hers was out in the storm and a wall fell on him and he died. And we asked JDF, as soon as you're able to mobilize, go and find this body. I mean, I would say we had about 5 operational helicopters. Now, you think about having just 5 helicopters 3 days after. How are you going to distribute that to deal with all the problems? Yes. The people who peddle that are unreasonable, yes, and they are lying. Yes. And they don't need Jamaica anymore. Now, Mr. Speaker, I am the first one to say that in the immediate response, there was a scramble. We don't deny that because we have never had this before. Institutions, you know, funny enough, Mr. Speaker, the members from Westmoreland made a very strong case that the disaster response was slow and ineffective. And you know, I reflected on it. I did, because every criticism, I take it and I look at it, because if I am wrong, I am the first to admit. In the same way that when I looked at the response, I said in the first 3 days, we were all just trying to run around and trying to get things done. And you know why, Mr. Speaker? Because the member will tell you that the disaster manager for the parish fell ill, had a stroke, and that key person in the coordination of the response was not available. But I wouldn't only use that as a response, as an excuse. There were persons who lost their roofs, who were cut off, had no telecommunications. We couldn't find them. So to say that our response was slow, it's not just a lie, it's unfair. Let's make another point, Mr. Speaker. The Jamaica Defense Force stood up an operation, and we had to make strategic decisions about how we are going to use our resources. Strategic decision number 1. If there are people who want to come to Jamaica, who have the experience, who have the equipment, and who have the know-how to do this thing, let them go quickly into the areas. So I see people saying, I don't see nobody from the government. The only person I see is from the Lacovia police station. How you think the aid got there? You think they just swam into Jamaica? The government opened the airport. The government cleaned the road. The government escorted them. Don't talk nonsense. To ensure that all the people who you see out there who want to give aid to Jamaica, that they are able to do it. You think they come here without ensuring that there are security guarantees? Who you think gives them the security guarantees? You think the stock that they have just move automatically, just materialize where they are? How many convoys you see moving with the security forces carrying them through? Don't talk nonsense about there was no government presence. I want to give commendation to the police. The JCF needs special recognition in this disaster, because with roofs blown off, no electricity. They stood up. When I went to Black River, the police station was destroyed, nothing. They didn't have any electricity. One of my first order of business was to secure generators. I gave 4 generators to police stations. I don't go out and make this public because that's not my role or my job, but I did it just to make sure that there was a center of response. When we went into communities, we realized that all businesses were destroyed. And right now, we have stood up a program where we are supporting businesses re-emerging. The member from Eastern Westmoreland would know that we're going to help White House, that we have in White House both the Ministry of Investment and Commerce and the Factories Corporation. Their target, their response is to stand up businesses in those communities. No, man, they talk to you. Factories told me they talk to you. Factories told me they talk to you. Yes. I'm sure he will speak to you later. But I just want to point out that Black River, I tasked UDC to help to clean up Black River, and there's a plan to clean up Black River. UDC will do it. And all of this is within effectively days. Now, bear in mind, Mr. Speaker, we're doing relief because what people see as managing the hurricane is carrying a bag of food from point A to point B. And everybody's out there giving out food and taking pictures. And that's fine. That's great. We thank you. We want to continue to do that. What that does is to relieve the government of that task. But even so, the JDF, Mr. Speaker, is still packaging, has the capability to package 10,000 packages and send them out. And that's what they do constantly. They have a list of communities, along with the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, where every day they are out there giving. Nobody's out there taking pictures with them and saying how great they are doing. But let's think about it. 900,000 people affected. About 40,000 houses flattened. Just multiply that by 3. Let's say 150,000 persons have been impacted. You believe that, one organization here delivering package and one is going to solve that problem? How long they're going to do it for? What will have to be stood up to be able to carry this school for months? So we have to be strategic. Build out the hubs, which we have done. Then we build out substations, which we have done. And that logistics hub, which moves food through to stations and then to substations, that same logistics hub is going to move building materials to hubs and then into people. In the weeks to come, you're going to see the JDF transition from delivering packages. They will still have a presence, but they're going to transition now to help in the rebuilding of the houses for those people who are most in need. When this is studied, as it will be studied, when the history book is written, our response compared to others, and you can say compared to Katrina, compared to Irma, compared to others, Jamaica has done better than most. And I think it is unfair and unfortunate that there are those who would try to tear down Jamaica. When the history is written, we will know who are the ones who tore down Jamaica and who are the ones who are reconstructing Jamaica. Finally, Mr. Speaker, we have a very clear strategy to manage the disaster. Minimize human suffering. There's a lot of human suffering going on. I witnessed it personally, and you were on the front lines, and you saw it. I saw the impact it had on you. And we cannot deny that there are people who are suffering, who are exposed to the elements, wind and rain. That is the case, and we are working as best as possible to do it. You have to figure, are you going to do a general strategy that moves everyone, or are you going to be responding to everyone that is crying out, and you look like you're disorganized? We build a strategy. and that strategy is working, which is to have the JDF marshal the humanitarian response in support and in parallel with our entertainers, our churches, and the general citizens who want to help. That's a very important part of managing the humanitarian issues. While that is going on, let us manage recovery. Now, recovery is let us get our electricity back up, let us get our water back up, let us get our telecommunications back up, let us open up our roads, and let us get our businesses back up. Let's focus on those 5 things. At 74% return of electricity island-wide, let's look at St. James, major corridor, Montego Bay, electricity has started to return. In Hanover, in Westport and some parts, Negril, electricity starting to return, and the focus is on getting back the electricity as quickly as possible. Recovery. Get water back, so as electricity comes back, water comes back, but even before that, we are putting in the generators, which builds the resilience. Let's get that up. Get the businesses back up. Recovery. The idea is that during Christmas and that period, we want to accelerate the recovery. And then we enter reconstruction. And reconstruction is not just building back what was there, it's building it forward. Let's use the disaster as a means to induce growth in the economy. So let's do things that are going to create growth opportunities. Yes. And what I did today, in my presentation today, which is a report on what we did in the G20, is about doing that other part of the response to the disaster, which is the reconstruction. So we announced how we're going to manage the reconstruction with the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority. The next question is, how will it be funded? Well, that's what we have just done. We've just gone to the G20 to strategically try to find the funding so that the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority can work. So your question that you asked, if you don't do, when we said we're going to provide the details of the plan, that's what it is. That's why we have the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority. That is the detail of the plan. And you're not going to get the funding without having the details of the plan. And so that's what we have just said here. The details of the plan so that our stakeholders can say, yes, this makes sense. Yes, this looks like something we can fund. Yes, there is the management, there is the structure, there is the oversight, there is the accountability. Let's fund it. And that is where we are. So thank you, member, for opening the door for me to answer your questions.
Member from, you're yielding to the Westmoreland? Portland, are you yielding to Westmoreland?
I just have one question, if you're permitted. He will this for this was one question.
Eastern Portland.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Prime Minister, you made the phrase "build forward better." Now, in that context of reconstruction, the idea of container homes as a temporary solution is raised, it's floating around. Is there a timeline for the use of the container homes? And in terms of the build forward better, is there a mechanism to which the government will be assisting those who probably don't have the funds to build the type of structure that you envision?
Concisely as I can. Because the question that you have asked requires an entire presentation, which we intend to come to Parliament with on housing. But you say container housing, I prefer to use the term modular housing. And you say temporary housing, some modular solutions are temporary based upon how they are built. They may last a year or two, if so long. But other modular solutions can last up to 10, 15 years. And we consider those semi-permanent. So it really depends on the type and grading of housing that we bring in. There will be some temporary housing solutions which we intend to deploy.
My listeners and viewers, we have to end it here. I mean, tomorrow evening we will update you on what you have missed. This has been the Colin Bell Show. May the good Lord continue to bless and keep you, make his face shine upon you, and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up his light and give you his peace. Until we meet tomorrow evening, right where we end, we're going to be talking about housing. Dr. Christopher Burgess will be with us. Don't miss it.
We are